Hi everyone. We are gonna actually talk about the woman issue in crypto. I'm kidding. So it's a very rare panel that you will see more women panelists. So we intentionally put seat in the middle. So, by the way, thank you so much for TTC for organizing this great event. I'm Sinhae and a partner of GBIC and Block 72. So GBIC is a crypto fund. We started in 2017, and we are based in Korea, China, and US. And we are one of the investors of TTC as well. And Block 72 is basically GBIC's crypto, the marketing arm that help portfolio companies and other projects on their go-to-market strategy. So I want to just ask everyone here to briefly introduce yourself and a little bit about your company as well.
Okay, I guess I'll start. Sabrina Tachdjian, that's the unpronounceable name right there. So I'm with Unblock Ventures. It's a subsidiary of Line Corporation. So we focus on investing in early stage blockchain companies who got created last year. And so we do have a strong interest in the fintech side of things, which is why I'm excited to be part of this panel tonight.
Hello. Hey everyone. First of all, I feel like Bruce Wayne. Yeah. So I'm Siddhartha. I'm from Matrixport. Matrixport is basically a layer 2 scaling solution on top of Ethereum. There are a lot of applications which have started building on Matic, and decentralized finance is one of the most important aspects of apps that we consider to be coming onto Matic. So it's a pleasure to be here and to be sharing insights with you guys with the experience that we have had with decentralized finance apps today.
Hello everyone, I'm Caterina from Matrixport. Matrixport is a crypto finance platform, one-stop crypto finance platform, and we provide lending, payments, trading, and custody solutions to clients all over the world. Actually, we spun off from Bitmain in this February this year, and hope we can share our thoughts and ideas today. And thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I just made a very brief introduction of myself. Actually, I entered this crypto space like in late 2017, and I joined Circle like in early this year. So basically handling the marketing in Asia area. So I think which shows the ambition for Circle to enter the Asia area market. So for Circle, after Edward's introduction, I think basically the messages we built up like our platform in 2013. It's like basically like 5 or 6 years ago, and the major business line is USDC stablecoin, which is initially launched with Coinbase, and also we have acquired Poloniex Exchange in early last year. Other than that, we have the Circle OTC trade desk as well. So for this part, it's the most frequently asked and approached platform, and we'd love to have more details talked on at a later stage.
Great. So apparently we have a great group of panelists from investor perspectives and also service provider perspective and also layer 1 blockchain. So because our topic is, so what is really decentralized finance? So has everyone heard about DeFi? Are you guys familiar with it? Yeah, but if you ask like people what's like the definition, you will see that the definition is really, really diverse. Some people think that lending is just like DeFi. Some people has really broader like the spectrum definition, thinking that if it's anything financial services on blockchain or smart contract, it's DeFi. So I want to kick off and ask you a question. So what's your definition of DeFi?
All right, so let's start. Well, I guess you mentioned like the more narrow definition, which is like focused on lending, borrowing, that can extend that to like maybe hedging or leveraging. But from like, if I have to speak from the investor perspective, I actually look at like, the nuts and bolts and also the infrastructure behind it too. So I think in my case, I also look at things like wallets that could be relevant, layer 1 or layer 2 protocols. So it's actually quite broader from my perspective, because we see like, okay, this is going to be a big market. But a lot of the infrastructure is not in place yet. There's a lot of really cool experiments happening, but I think there's still like a really good opportunity for like infra plays to be made in that space.
Sabrina, you mentioned that the Unblock or Line actually is known for investing in the fintech area, right? So do you guys, when you guys like look at the portfolio company, do you even like differentiate like the fintech startups and the DeFi projects? And if yes, how you even have like different process on due diligence those projects?
That's a good question. Actually, I focus exclusively on the blockchain projects, regardless of the vertical, and so we do have an interest in fintech, that's blockchain power. But we have also other investment groups at Line that look at the non-blockchain world, and they also invest a lot in fintech-related companies and startups.
Well, I think it's a really broad definition, and I think it should be that way because we're still trying to figure out what all verticals can actually be brought in what is called as decentralized finance, right? I think people call it more like a revolution. I disagree, it's not a revolution, it will be more like evolution from the traditional finance aspect, right? Because we don't even know what kind of products or what will be the crypto-native use cases that will slowly come into the decentralized finance aspect, right? So I'm from India, and I know a lot of people who are probably unbanked, right? So these things are usually talked about, but currently when you look at the ecosystem, right, you don't really find any of the unbanked getting banked with decentralized finance, right? DeFi is just a plaything for, let's say, people who are already in the crypto ecosystem. And both from a user interface perspective and also from a complexity perspective technologically, it's very difficult from someone who's not in the crypto ecosystem to actually get onboarded, right? So it's basically, currently we're just passing along the myth that it is about open finance. It has to be about open finance, but it's still a very long way from there.
Okay.
Do you think that open finance is DeFi?
I think it's definitely a subset of it, but decentralized, anything you take any financial application and remove the centralized service provider from that, all of that becomes decentralized finance, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say you take a very small soccer team from Argentina, right? Let's say Boca Juniors. Now somehow realize that they have to incentivize their players with respect to whatever their performance, right? So it was never possible earlier, but let's say I've got a team with me which is called Trade Stars, right? They create a player token, and then that token can be leveraged by anyone in the world, right? And they can probably put a wager on the performance of that player. And that is effectively allowing those players to actually raise funds from anywhere across the world. Right? So that is the potential that we're talking about.
Okay, thank you. And I didn't find a very clear definition of DeFi, because when I was in Bitmain, we had a decentralized exchange. It's just off-chain matching and on-chain settlement, and we also call us a decentralized exchange. So I think maybe it's not very important to define the DeFi. It's more important to see what is the purpose of DeFi. I think the purpose of DeFi is to make the crypto finance more transparent, efficient, and also secure. So it doesn't matter you work in which way, you just build your own blockchain or just use a traditional financial way. It doesn't matter, but we have the same purpose. That's the most important thing. Thank you.
Well, actually, I think to C's point, I do believe that DeFi is sort of a innovative, open financial system that allow people to transfer, hedge, store, or insure, collateralize, etc. So basically, I think there are already a ton of projects built upon DeFi protocols. And there are a few notable ones, for example, Lightning Network for payment, DYDX for derivatives, and also Tether and DAI for stablecoins, and also MakerDAO and USDC, of course, for collateralized. So to that point, actually USDC, for year-to-date data, actually we already have like over 114 million US dollar has been added to the collateralized platform. Top 3 DeFi platforms, say Compound, DYDX, and so I do believe it is providing more options for people in India or the other third development countries to bank those unbanked.
Yeah, obviously India obviously comes at the forefront, but I think DeFi gives you that kind of a power, right? So for example, forget finance, other industries as well, right? For example, let's say gaming, right? So in gaming, you've got a very small subset currently which DeFi applications are covering, which is gambling, right? So we have had brilliant teams that we have come across during our course of our journey with Matic Network. We've come across brilliant teams, and one of such teams is here as well. So we've got Bet Protocol here. They're from Portugal, and what they're trying to build is basically allowing anyone to actually have a platform and start their own betting platform within 10 minutes, right? So that is the kind of power that when you get this current infrastructure, which is in the traditional financial world, you couple it with decentralized finance, and then you take it to the other industries which are on the periphery, right? So that unleashes a lot of power.
That's a really good definition of DeFi. And I mean, we know that this industry really follows trends. So you probably heard about gaming a lot at the beginning of this year, and then everyone talks about DeFi right now. And before it was STO, gaming, right? I know so many layer 1 projects say whoa, we are going after gaming depths, right? Right now, everyone seems talking about DeFi, to be honest. So do you think it's just trend that we talk about DeFi? Why DeFi even matters? Why we are having the DeFi night here tonight?
Oh, so I think you're right, because I do see a lot of projects these days that are focusing on DeFi, and I think they're following in the footsteps of Maker and Compound and Circle. Because I think it's a measurable trend right now. It's about $500 million that are being collateralized, and you look at the month-over-month growth rates, and it's actually quite astonishing. So I think that's kind of started a new trend, and I do see a lot of projects that are kind of going in that space. So is this a fad? I don't think it is, but I think it's much harder than most people think it is to actually succeed in that space. So because anything that touches fintech is going to be highly regulated, which doesn't mean that they shouldn't try. So I think the winners haven't been set yet. So there's a time of opportunity right now.
I think basically it's not a fad, but I think the early entrants have already come, right? So everyone who would probably stake their ETH has already done so, and the astonishing rates that we saw at one point in time are now coming to a plateau, or probably are coming down, right? But at the same point in time, the thing to actually ponder about is we know a team from India, Instant App, they're just a bunch of 20-year-olds. They've created a protocol which has locked $30 million worth of collateral, right? So that's the kind of power that it is enabling both the users, both the developers and also the end users, right? So anyone sitting can now leverage their ETH on Compound, right, and earn the 6 to 7% interest. Right? So that was not possible before. So it's not a fad, but it has a long way to go still.
And it's a very interesting question, because we are thinking about why DeFi why, or we can say why blockchain. And it's very happy to see that in these days many projects started to focus more on the finance area. Because you can see that from the very beginning of the whole blockchain, we have Bitcoin, which is just to be regarded as a payment token, right? And then we go back to the original dream or original purpose of the blockchain, which is I want to say it's the application of finance will be one of the most important applications in nowadays. So let's see what's the difference of traditional finance and the crypto finance. You can see it's let's talk about the history of currency. You can see it's very similar to the medium of news. You know, the currency is just a medium of exchange or a medium of payment. And you can see every time when the medium of news changed, there would be a great change or revolution of the society. So it's very similar to the medium of news. Just like the we can see the medium of news change from the paper medium to the web medium, and now you can see news on your cell phone. And today, you can see the currency changed from the gold to the paper, and now to the so-called digital currency, which is issued by central bank. But actually now the digital currency is not exactly what we want as cryptocurrency. It's just completed half of the digitalization of token. Think about that. When you transfer your token or gold to another people, you transfer not only the information, you transfer the value. So I think the crypto finance or DeFi is important because it allows us to simultaneously transfer the information together with the value of the assets itself. So this is very important because you know in traditional finance, time is very important. So the ability to transfer information and value together will help the traditional finance to change. So I think that's why it's so important to talk about DeFi nowadays. Thank you.
Well, I think let's step back to see why this question just bringing up and what problem that we can solve. Actually, I think it's because of fear. Look at what we are experiencing now. Well, we have the global economic slowdown in decade, and also we were surrounded by a lot of uncertainties. For example, U.S.-China trade war, Iran war, and also the possibility of no deal of Brexit, etc. So I think people are eager to looking for a new gateway to activate their assets. No matter it's like from the traditional assets or digital ones. For traditional ones, let's say, if you have a bunch of investment in stocks, bonds, I don't believe that the investment return can satisfy their needs anymore. And so DeFi actually, from the crypto space, is an innovative one, and also they catch the right timing to satisfy what investors or speculators or traders are looking for. So basically, they can provide the most safest and decentralized trading on public chain, and also can have like the wide range of investment, trading, and speculations opportunities rather than pure buying and selling in the market. And for the builders, I think they can build whatever that they want. They enjoy the most ever freedom that they have. And also they can just, like I said, build whatever they want without asking permission from anyone. I think that's the point that people are looking for and DeFi exists.
Yeah, so according to Microsoft, when they did a survey from like top executives from like Fortune 500 companies, and they all think that the financial industry is the number one industry where they think the blockchain can disrupt. And this is not surprising. That's why we think that DeFi is one of the important area and probably see the use cases. But I actually want to talk a little bit more about use cases. So what you mentioned, Sid, is saying that even though, let's say, like Compound has like 300 million like lent money or all this number, but I don't think that DeFi has achieved its original goal, which is helping, like for example, unbanked people to bank, or even just very higher goal. Right now, I think those DeFi services are being used by people who want to just like leverage up, right? So they deposit Ethereum, they get DAI, and then they use it to buy more Ethereum, for example. And probably that's like the most use case that we've been seeing, to be honest. And it's not bringing people outside of the crypto. They're just in Korean we say 고인물, but it's just like another tool for people who are already in this space. So again, like I wanna like ask about it. So what are the real use cases of DeFi other than just some like very happy and like idealistic stories? Because you guys are all working in the DeFi space, or you are working very closely with the DeFi projects. Have you seen any real meaningful use cases? Or if you haven't seen, where do you think you will see the meaningful use cases going forward?
I mean, first to like address, I think the first point that you made, where you're saying kind of DeFi as it is today is very kind of crypto community centric. I think that's normal. I mean, it's just a phase. I think it's just right now. It's just the early adopters are going to be those crypto holders who have been in that space for a bit and are comfortable, because I think the barrier to entry is a little bit high. I think Sid was making that point earlier. It's quite difficult to get set up on those platforms. And sorry, what's the second part of your question?
Within DeFi, like real use case that you've been seeing, and if you haven't seen it, where do you think it's going to go in the future?
So the list of issues to fix is pretty long in the finance industry when it comes to. So I think mentioned earlier, banking the unbanked is one. International remittances, like why do they take 2 days? Why are those fees so high? Payment networks, the fees are high too, so that means you can't really do micropayments either. So there's a lot of friction in the system, and I think the market is there, the demand is there. Right? It's just a matter of executing it. And right now, I feel like mostly things like banking the unbanked. I've seen some POCs with NGOs. Also with and like Latin America, countries where the national currency isn't so stable, but I haven't seen like a widespread adoption. But I think that's because a lot of these projects are still very early stage. So I think it's encouraging.
What I think about it is basically you see a random stranger walking on the road, you probably try to educate him about it. So the first question he'll ask is, why should I do it, right? Why should I go ahead and do it? And even if you convince him to do it, probably he'll come back to you after like 3 or 4 hours of intense research and probably like scream at you because he's not able to still figure out how to do it. So there are two things. I think one part is education. First, letting people know that there is an alternate, because currently people really don't know. Apart from the bubble that is crypto right now, not a lot of people are aware that there is an alternate to the current existing centralized structure, right? So once we make enough people aware that, okay, even if you want to earn interest on your hard-earned money, there is probably an alternate. You can go stake with some network, right? That is something that comes first, which is education. And then coming to it, now, even when people are educated, let's say a lot of people in this room, still some people might have never opened a CDP or probably leveraged their ETH, right? So now comes the second part, which is usability. Basically making it easy enough for anyone who's coming in, even at a later stage, to basically ensure that they can get into the system. And to probably answer the second question as to where will the major use cases be, I think I'm really comfortable accepting the fact that I don't know that. I interact with a lot of teams who want to build on Matic and they come up with so many beautiful ideas which I cannot probably think of. So I'm very comfortable with the fact that I probably don't know. But I think micropayments is going to be something that will amaze all of us with respect to the subscription model and a lot of other things. But when you come to the finance part of it, I think beating the system in terms of having an uncorrelated asset to the current existing portfolios, I think that will be that will slowly get picked up by a lot of financial houses.
To be honest, for Matrixport, we hadn't seen too many applications out there, very mature projects out there. So for now, we treat cryptocurrency or I should say crypto assets just as a kind of assets. So we can build different kinds of applications on top of these crypto assets, such as lending, trading, custody, and things like that. But in our team, we also have the BCH core developers, and we also did a lot of researches on the blockchain itself. We think maybe in the future, not very long, but maybe 2 or 3 years, we will find a good way to make the blockchain more applicable for our own use. And at that time, we will focus more on how to build our own blockchain or things like that. And also, just to talk about the user cases, I just mentioned that why the DeFi is different from our current financial system. It is that it can both combine the information flow together with the assets flow. So I think one of the most important use cases is the cross-border payment. So actually, we also did a lot of research on that. We have our own payment system, and we were ready for the challenge and the future of this area.
Anything to add?
Okay, actually it seems like there are two questions. For DeFi, I think it's way not mature, like in the market. Instead, like DeFi is officially adopted or started in Q3 2018 and relatively massively adopted since May this year till now. So during the past 3 months, actually if you check the data, you can see the user expansion a lot on different platforms. But can we say DeFi is perfect? No. They still have room to improve. For example, they are lack of the nodes. They still need to improve their network effect, etc. So basically, I do believe that we still have a lot of room to improve. But before I head into the panel, actually I got the news. One of the news is a investment arm called Xspring of Ripple. Actually, they just acquired Logos, right?
Logos network.
Yes, so to build up their DeFi ecosystem, which is very aspirational. And also, if you ask me what is the use case for DeFi, I really can't give you the answer, but it's like the market is exploring, Circle is exploring as well. So we'll try to follow the path to see what suits us best.
Yeah, so I think consensus here is it's still mature, trying to figure out the use cases, just like any other sectors in the blockchain and crypto space. But mentioned that micropayment and international remittance can be potential future use cases. DeFi, and we have a limited time, so I want to quickly ask this question because it's such a cliche topic, to be honest, like the Facebook Libra. But because we are talking about decentralized finance, some people actually think that it doesn't need to be decentralized. It's actually better when it's centralized because Facebook already has so many users all over the world, right? So I just want to ask your question, do you really believe the decentralized of the service? Do we really need it? You don't need, it doesn't need to everyone needs to answer.
So the whole point that all of us are here in this room, right, is basically we believe that the centralized third parties cannot be trusted, right? I think all of us can agree to that fact at least, right? So when you take out the banks and you put in Facebook in charge of all of that, the bottom line remains the same, right? You're trusting a private organization right now. Previously, you were trusting your individual government, right? So it actually does not make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense to me in the fact that it will do a whole lot of good in educating the people regarding the benefits of cryptocurrency. But I think at the end of the day, if we are letting down the original ethos of decentralization and letting someone who can censor or probably even have complete control over anyone else's accounts, right? I think that is not something what DeFi was originally envisioned for, right? It's basically to probably give you the power of everything that you own, right? Basically, I don't need to trust anyone else. And if I have to trust a private entity, I'm back to square one.
Well, I think there's a long way to go to be a pure decentralized. Even the Facebook Libra actually is centralized or decentralized if they're trying to build on. So, well, for us, I do believe that it's still a long way to go. That's for now my opinion.
Just as I mentioned, I don't think decentralized is the purpose. The purpose is to make it more efficient, transparent, and trustworthy. That's the whole meaning of decentralized ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, if it's about removing friction, cutting out the middleman in a way that is transparent and where you don't have the trust issue, I mean, I think this is the only way that you can do it technologically.
Great. So just one question. If you guys have one question, yeah, just quickly, yes, please. What are the business models of DeFi?
What are some of the business models that excites you the most right now?
Within DeFi?
Yeah, within DeFi.
I don't think just one or two people can answer. The most exciting business model within DeFi.
Basically, you getting to stake, right? If you're familiar with staking, I think earning interest without any, what should I say, without being dependent on any third party, right?
But what about the price drop?
So we've got maker for that. But yeah, coming to the point, I think people are actually, in our current world, they're actually not even questioning negative interest rate, right? So there are a lot of countries in which interest rates have become negative, and that is how people are assuming it to be normal, right? So that's not the case when you actually transition, because the monetary policy is getting decided by a select few, right? It's a top-down approach. So that getting questioned, in my sense, will be the most easiest way that people can relate to it, right? If I get like $100 and I'm earning interest on that and I can see it accumulating, I think nothing better than that to actually educate and also making it the first majorly adopted use case.
Great. I want to thank all the great panelists, Sabrina, Sid, and Caterina and Yolanda. And thank you for listening to the panel. Thank you, everyone.